Hey, what's going on today, YouTube? I'm gonna try to do this video in just one take, so there won't be as many cuts, so it won't flow as fluidly, but I'm gonna be talking how my progress with Japanese has been going so far, and I think I'm gonna be doing this as kind of a new thing on a month-to-month basis, updating how my Japanese has been going. So, with this, I believe I haven't made a video about my Japanese for a couple of months, so January, February, today is March 9th. And how has it been going? In my opinion, my Japanese studies have not been the best. There are a couple of things that attribute to why I think it hasn't been the best, and the biggest reason is that I don't think I've been spending enough active hours as I should, and more often than not I think I get sidetracked when I have been studying Japanese. But recently, within these last several weeks, I've gotten much better at it. So like January I was pretty much just slacking off, and then beginning through mid-February I was also kind of not doing the most, and then at about that time, I was feeling like, man, my Japanese progress isn't really going anywhere. So I reevaluated a couple of things and started getting back on track for actively studying and just making sure that my progress is increasing day by day. And so I guess I'll talk a little bit about what things that I've been reevaluating. So a couple of things. Anki. Before I used to do a ton of Anki, and I think Anki just made me tired. And so reevaluating the way that I do Anki and just playing around with the settings. A lot of people in my Discord group, they say use the anime card site settings instead of the refold settings. So I played with a mixture of both, and I think one that kind of works for me is having to review a new card 3 times in a day, and then having to review lapses twice. I generally still kept the refold settings, so I have again and good as my 2 card options, but I think this has been working better for my retention, and it just makes Anki a little bit faster. Additionally, the way that I pass cards in Anki is a little bit different than before. The way that I'm doing Anki, instead of really grading too hard, if I can remember the meaning based on the hiragana, if I can remember the meaning based on the kanji, or if I can remember the way that the kanji is read, I will pass it. And so I think reading the way that the kanji is read, passing it at that point, I think is up to debate on whether or not that is effective, but that is how I've been passing it. Those criteria I've been passing my Anki cards, and it makes my Anki review sessions much quicker. So 10 to 20 minutes to do 80 to 120 reviews has been much nicer on my mental capacity for Anki. And so that's one thing that I changed with Anki. And then one other thing that I reevaluated was the content that I'm consuming. And so, as you may all know, I use a lot of anime in my active consumption, as well as I do YouTube as well. However, within these past couple of weeks or so, or past several weeks, I have been adding quite a bit more of podcasts and YouTube into it. And the main reason about that is the contrast between spoken Japanese, and then the Japanese spoken in anime is quite different. And so, of course, I do still want to 100% be able to understand anime, so that's why I have that in my studying. But as well, I am transitioning more into the just day-to-day conversations in Japanese, because I think that is also going to be very useful to train my ear to be able to hear, as well as hear their pronunciations, hear the way that they go, just basically hear normal Japanese. And so a couple of I guess influences for that would be just re-evaluating what my goals are. And so my goals are to number one, I think my number one goal when studying Japanese was to be able to consume the media that I enjoy. And so that's why I have anime still in there. And then, I forgot to mention, I am reading, and I'm trying to read more often than I had been. January through mid-February, I wasn't really reading too much, but I've since then picked up the pace. I picked up a light novel. It's called, the English title is called Classroom of the Elite. I forgot like half of the Japanese title, but I've been reading that light novel as I just watched the anime, and so I've been doing that. But yeah, just reevaluating the goals on what I want to do with Japanese, be able to consume the media, but also be able to convey and talk to native Japanese speakers, or be able to consume the content of Japan. And I think I've added a third one, which is be able to consume higher level, more academic type stuff. And I think this probably stems from like the STEM field for engineering and robotics. And so that can be a little bit tough. So I'm slowly working my way towards that type of stuff. But yeah, those are two things that I reevaluated. The I forgot what I called it, but Anki, and then my goals basically for Japanese. And then yeah, just taking it day by day after the fact there. I kind of lost track where I'm at in the video, as I don't have any pointers for this. I'm kind of just free flowing, but yeah, I guess I'll talk a little bit on the amount of hours that I have roughly consumed over these past couple of months, or several months, 3 months. And so between the months of January through March, I think I only have something along the lines of a documented 80 or 60 or 80 hours of studying, active studying. And I want to increase that number, because if we're going off of how many active hours per day would be good, after around 60 to 90 days, you should have about 2 to 3 hours of active immersion per day. That gives you around 120 to 180 hours of active study that you should have done after about 2 to 3 months. And so I want to increase my number to get there. And I think there are a couple things that I'm going to do, or should be doing, to my schedule too, to fit that in, and yeah, work from there. But anyways, I think that's all I kind of wanted to talk about today. Just kind of do a recap of what has been occurring with my Japanese recently, and how I've been going about kind of thinking about it and solving it. I think I'll make a follow-up video possibly in the future that's probably along the lines of like a revised approach towards learning Japanese, or what I'm doing to learn Japanese. But that's it for today's video, and yeah, as always, good luck in your studies out there, and I'll see you again in a future video.